Shri Sadguru Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Sita Ramachandrabhyam Namaha. After helping the aspirant to banish all negativity in his mind, today in Prabhu Prarthana, Shri Gurudev advises thus. अणु अणु और परमाणु में देखे रूप तुम्हारा, सर्व समर्पण होय आप में, रहे न अंश हमारा, हे प्रभु असा मन कर दो. In the third couplet, the awakened aspirant now perceives the Lord in every atom of the whole world. The most minuscule particle of universe and the astral world as the supreme and all-pervasive energy. He wishes to surrender himself totally unto him, be one with him, and not retain even a fraction of his gross being, that is the self with the impure self, soul. We witness his omnipresence in the rivers, seas, sun, moon, stars, constellations, soil, sky, mountains, and every living entity in the world. The breath inside our body, our life force, is also his gift, that is the prana. We breathe, speak, think, and act only through his grace. He is the supreme guide to our souls in a final journey from earth. Even doctors surrendered to his will. At that time, the sacred water of Ganga, Tulsi, Vrajraj, that is the sacred dust of Vrindavan, chanting of Gita and Ram Nam remind us of his presence. Shri Gurudev has used the word dekhein, which solicits our attention. In the Bal Kand of Manas Ji, Goswami Ji says, Siya Ram mein sab jag jaane, karaun pranam jori jug paane. In the initial stages of sadhana, the aspirant through satsang, chintan and manan perceives the whole world in the form of Siya Ram. Knowledge gained through circumstances is superficial. It is only information collected. It is like a parrot speaking Ram Ram who starts shrieking Chivi Chivi on spotting a cat. The so-called informed person who at one time bowed to someone will criticize him when circumstances change, or will try to escape the situation by making himself unavailable. To explain so, Goswami Ji has said in the Uttar Kand of Manas Ji, Uma je Ram charanarata, vigat moh mad krodh, nij prabhumai dekhahi jagata, kehi sana karahi virodh. An intelligent aspirant will not readily believe what others tell him, but will trust only what he has seen or experienced. When sadhana matures and becomes perfectly ripe, it yearns for higher spiritual goals. An aspirant experiences the existence and presence of the Almighty as pervading the world everywhere, in every living or inert entity. Narsi Mehta, considered a devotee of the highest order, sings thus. Akhil Brahmand ma ek tu Shri Hari, jujve rupe anant bhase. Only a mind free of negativity and which is in total surrender to God's will, can attain such a level of knowledge and rise towards emancipation. Circumstances are natural or man-made, but our behavior at such time and our reactions to them depicts a state of mind. Sadhana trains us to take an equanimous position under all circumstances, and nobody is termed as mine, yours, ours, or his. We perceive God even in our enemy. About omnipresence of God, it has been rightly said, God sleeps in stone, is dreaming in vegetation, but is truly awake in all of us, all of mankind. Just as we get used to the furniture and objects in our house, a judicious aspirant is able to develop an internal guidance system to recognize and experience his tendencies, that is, whether they tilt more towards materialism or are inclined towards spirituality, that is, yoga. Thus, man holds the key to master the art of living. Sri Krishna authenticates it thus. Utkramantam sthitam vapi, bunjanam va gunanvitam, vimudha nanu pashyanti, pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. Meaning, the uninformed ones cannot understand how a living entity can remain detached from his body, nor can they understand what sort of sensations he enjoys under the spell of materialism. But one who is truly a knowledgeable person can see all this. An ignorant person sees into another person just as if he is fair dark, mine yours, wife mother, sweet sour. Alternatively, a knowledgeable aspirant sees the eternal God residing in every person or object. Ignorance leads to a knowledge of doership. I intervenes in all our actions. Narsi Mehta whips our senses in this verse. હું કરું, એ જ અજ્ઞાનતા શકટનો ભાર જેમ શ્વાન તાણે. A discreet, judicious and learned aspirant experiences the will of God under every circumstance and in every being. He does not oppose anyone, not even his enemies. Shri Gurudev says, एक बात कहूँ, कटु है पर सत्य है. हमारे में आस्तिक कितने हैं? जो ईश्वर को मानता है, जानता है. बराबर है न? आप कहेंगे कि हर एक आस्तिक है. ईश्वर को मानना ही आस्तिकता है न? अब हम यह पूछते हैं कि ईश्वर को जानने वाला और यहाँ तक कहने वाला कि ईश्वर सब में है, विश्वासघात क्यों करता है? जिसके साथ तुम विश्वासघात करते हो, उसमें क्या ईश्वर नहीं है? ईश्वर को हाजिर नाजिर जानकर जब हम आचरण करें, तब हम आस्तिक कहलाते. भगवान को मानते हो और परमात्मा को ही धोखा देते हो. ईश्वर सर्व में है, ऐसा अहंकार नहीं कर सकता. ईश्वर सर्व में है ऐसा हम कहते भर हैं। ईश्वर का सर्वव्यापी रूप देखने वाला कदापि पापाचरण नहीं कर सकता, अहंकार नहीं कर सकता, क्रोध या ईर्ष्या के बस नहीं हो सकता। हमसे तो आस्तिक ही अच्छा है जो कहता है कि ईश्वर नहीं है और पापाचरण करता है। Shri Gurudev says, "Shall I tell you something? It is the truth, the bitter truth. How many of us believe in God? You will say that all of us here have faith in God. Is it just sufficient to believe in His presence? Why does a person who firmly believes in God's presence deceive others? Isn't God present in your opponent, whom you conveniently deceive? If we accept God's presence in all and respect all, then only can we claim to know Him. How many of us are convinced of His presence in all entities? The knower of this ultimate truth can never sin. He can never be arrogant. He never succumbs to anger or jealousy. According to me, an atheist who candidly denies God's presence is better than us. He does not philosophize, neither claims to be virtuous, nor justifies his willful behavior. When we prostrate ourselves before Lord Ram and Mother Sita, we notice that the Supreme Mother has been bejeweled from the head to the toe. The aspirant will progress in sadhana if he sees the element of God in every strata of life created by him. The good, gentle people are like the crown on the mother's head. The aspirant should bow down to them with respect. The wicked people get the place of the mother's anklets. They should also be respected. We fill our eyes with the image and feet of Mother Sita. The feet remind us of a journey to the jungles with Lord Ram. We pray to her to bless us with kind and pure sense, that is Nirmal Mati, to help us in realizing the Ram within us. Goswami Ji says, "Bahuri bandi khalagana sati bhaye, जे बिनु काज दाहिने हूँ बाएं, परह तहाने लाभ जिन केरे, उजरे हर्ष विषाद बसेरे." Meaning, Goswami Ji says, "In all humility, I bow down to the wicked people who return good with evil, who are happy in adversity of others, and who are saddened by their prosperity. As every particle of a laddu is permeated with the sweetness of jaggery, in the same way, the presence of the Supreme Lord is evident in every atom and particle of the universe, be it soil, brick, or stone. This is the ultimate universal truth." As our Kavi and King of Lathi, Kalapi says, "Je poshtu te martu, evo dise kram kudrati." Nature is full of matter and minerals. Scientific research on these has been carried out for the progress of mankind, as also for its destruction, as in the case of the atom bomb. It all depends on man's good or bad intentions influenced by his past actions, intellect, refined or polluted attitudes, and above all, his thoughts. Our good or bad thoughts form similar atoms and vibrations around us. They are scattered into the atmosphere and return to us with good or bad rewards. The seed and the root, the source and the maintenance of everything in this material manifestation is the Supreme God. He is the supreme living entity in all entities in this mundane world. He is the omnipotent in all entities, the one responsible for the evolution of the child to a young man, from a young man to a mature and old person. Shri Gurudev says, परमात्मा की सृष्टि में नया कुछ भी नहीं बनता है. वैज्ञानिक वस्तु और द्रव्य पदार्थों का मिश्रण व संयोजन करके या उसमें घटा-बढ़ी करके सिर्फ आविष्कार कर सकते हैं. एक मुट्ठी भर मिट्टी भी आज तक कोई विज्ञानी नई नहीं बना सका है, क्योंकि मिट्टी भी ईश्वर खुद बने हैं. The entire scientific world has accepted that they can only discover or invent. Nothing can be created, as everything is already created by God. Man can never create soil because God Himself is soil. While transmitting energy, every wire starting from the generating powerhouse is of equal voltage. God, the powerhouse of the whole world, is present in every being in the same form called the soul. One person can be like a 0-watt bulb, another a 40-watt bulb, and yet some turn out to be like halogen bulbs. In every case, the connection to the generator is mandatory. Secondly, the switch should be put on to receive the power. To receive the eternal light, it is necessary to get connected to God. The on of the switch indicates inclination towards God, faith in God, and acceptance of His supremacy. If we do not abide by these rules, we are definitely gathering and stacking information, but cannot be illuminated by that knowledge. Holiness and godliness will elude us. An aspirant, though perceiving all in the only one and the only one in all, sometimes falters or differs in daily practice or monetary obligations. He is ultimately deceiving and depriving himself of the real truth. To maintain your communication, your secret relationship with Him, always be in company of God-loving, pious men, never with hypocrites and thieves. Gurudev further elaborates in the second line of this couplet thus: सर्व समर्पण होय आप में, रहे न अंश हमारा. हे प्रभु, Asa Mann Kar Do. The aspirant now desires to sacrifice everything he has, as well as surrender his own self at the lotus feet of God, just like a drop of water that merges with the vast ocean, without holding back anything or retaining even a fraction of itself. The Ansh word is important. It means even an iota. In the literal sense, it means sacrificing all material possessions and belongings at the feet of the Lord. The aspirant, in a subtle mode, admits to surrendering his total self, body, mind, and ego. Not even a fraction of I is retained within him. With such an honest confession, the humble aspirant wants to merge himself with the only one, the soul, the jiva with the Shiva. In Manasji, the word Ansh is explained thus. Ishwar Ansh, Jeev Avinashi, Chetan Amal Sahaj Sukharashi, So Mayavash Bhayahu Gusai, Bandhyo Kir Marakataki Nai. Goswamiji explains, every soul is a part of God or the super soul, that is the Paramatma. Like him, the soul is immutable, scatheless, infinite, pure, happy and animate. That is Chetan. Surrender should be in totality, complete. If even a little portion of I is held back, it tends to drift towards the world and gradually gets bound to it like a small seed that grows into a sprawling banyan tree. I and mine, you and yours means Maya or illusion. The gopis in the Bhagavad and Naradji in Manasji are examples of this. As soon as the ego intervened, both Lord and Bhagwan vanished. Tulsidasji affirms, when I existed, Hari vanished. When Hari entered, I vanished. The lane of love is too narrow to accommodate the two together. In the temple, we call on God as O Omnipotent, all prosperous. The Lord understands our sentiments, but wants us to surrender ourselves totally to Him and expects us to work with fairness towards all beings in our daily commitments. We have to put into practice the teachings of our Sadguru, our true preceptor. Thus, our mind becomes averse to worldly attractions. It becomes firmly oriented towards spiritual goals. When an infant dirties his nappies, he cries to draw his mother's attention and puts up his arms in a gesture urging her to pick him up and clean him. The mother fondly cleans him, dresses him up, caresses him, and applies a black dot on his cheek to protect him from evil eye. Similarly, God saves His own separated part, His Ansh, from drowning into the cesspool of miseries of this world and uplifts him towards Himself. It is necessary to cry out to Him in earnest. Tell Him, O Lord, I am yours. Take care of me. Please come and save me from my mental deficiencies. It is difficult to begin or progress in sadhana without total surrender, especially in sakar dhyan. Such a mind does not get upset or angry when ridiculed or rebuked, nor does it feel flattered when praised. God Himself comes down to shower him with praise. Narsi Mehta of Junagadh confirms thus: the one whom I desire, nobody else should desire. A feeling of attachment is evident here. I see and adore only you. A sentiment of ecstatic love is evident here. Let the whole world praise and respect the one whom I respect. An element of profound faith is evident here. There is a richness in attitude. Let my mind perceive only you. This feeling envelops a dedicated and wise aspirant. Poet King Kalapi expresses that ज्या ज्या नजर मारी फरे देखो छबी त्या आपनी ज्या ज्या गुलो ज्या ज्या चमन त्या त्या निशानी आपनी. Only when you master the dance steps, your feet do not falter to a discordant beat. Similarly, if we believe that God element resides in all human beings, we cannot commit sin. Paramatma is the all-luminous and all-glorious, residing as the witness and guide in every conditioned soul. The zealous aspirant desires to take a glimpse of this Paramatma, present in every atom and particle of the cosmos. He wishes to merge himself with the eternal life force. Otherwise, he will remain unsatisfied and unfaithful like the butterfly, which after reaching the flame of the lamp, returns without sacrificing itself in it, that is, merging itself with it. Such a matchless and dedicated devotee will attain the all-pure, illuminated and magnificent Paramatma. Just as a mirror reflects the image in front of it, the aspirant pleads to God, O Lord, like Arjuna, grant me the special sight to discern and feel your glorious presence in the soul, that is dwelling in the body, gifted by you. O Lord, condition my mind thus. Shri Sadgurudev ki Jai.